So thank you all for being here. Hopefully you can hear me, see my screen. My name is Taylor Sandoval Mendoza. I am the Assistant Director for Leadership and Greek Life in our Center for Student Development. So I just kind of want to give you a rundown of how we're going to work this thing out. So I'm going to share a presentation first just about some general information about our Greek community, give you some tips and things to think about when potentially wanting to join. And then we will have a section at the end for a student panel. And so we are going to have representatives from every council, not every single organization, but every council. So right now I see 3 of our panelists. So if you guys want to introduce yourselves so they can kind of see who you are right now, and then I'll get going on the presentation. And if Indira, I chatted you, if you could like respond, please, if you're there, that'd be great. But we'll start with Megan and then Alexa and Andrew.
Hi guys, my name is Megan Allen. I'm a member of AOPI, which is a Panhellenic sorority, and I'm also the president of Order of Omega, which is a Greek honor society for juniors and seniors in Greek organizations.
Hi guys, I'm Alexa Farrell. I am the membership recruitment director for Tri Sigma, which is also a Panhellenic Council on Sorority.
Andrew?
Hello, my name is Andrew Tovar, and I am the president for the Multicultural Greek Council.
And then Indira, if you can unmute.
Hi guys, I'm Indira, and I'm part of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Kappa Nu chapter here. So I'm part of the MPHC.
Perfect. All right, so hopefully you all can see my screen. It's kind of weird how Zoom sets up on 2 of my screens, but we're gonna just go ahead and get started. So I already introduced myself. I'll show my contact info at the end as well. But basically, what is a fraternity or sorority? This is some basic kind of knowledge, but in case you don't know or you're just curious, they are values-based, international, national, regional, social organizations that focus on bringing members together for the betterment of their community, enhancing lifelong friendship, and for creating opportunities for connection. So overarching, what are they? Why potentially should you join an organization? So in organizations, any of our organizations, you're going to gain some invaluable skills that'll kind of set you up for any career path. A lot of those soft skills or things that employers are looking for actual practical skills, you're definitely going to be able to gain through a fraternity or sorority. You definitely build friendships and networking opportunities. So like I said previously, they're international, national, regional organizations that span literally across the world at times for alumni associations, things like that. But you're gonna build some deep friendships with people you might not have met before, across council, across the community, not just within your own chapter as well. They are academic focused, so we do stand for leadership, scholarship, service, and like brotherhood, sisterhood, so that social aspect, but we do have an academic focus. We understand that you are a student first, and that is what you are here for. That's what our organizations were created for, to support college students, to kind of get you through the end. So there is academic focus and drive within each chapter. And then of course, you have fun. Like, we know how to have fun. We do have fun with one another all throughout our community. So that is another great reason why you should potentially join if you're looking for any of those types of things. And I apologize if you can put it in the chat if you need me to slow down, or if you have questions. We're gonna have questions at the end, but you can post them and I'll scroll through it after too. So I apologize, I'll try to slow down a little. I like to talk fast. So Greek life at TWU, right now we have 12 fraternities and sororities. So 3 fraternities and 9 sororities. Our all Greek GPA was this past fall was a 3.26, which was actually higher than our all university average for undergrads. Yes, we were very proud of that and beat the goal that I set, but it's awesome. So our focus, we focus on values, as I said before, scholarship, leadership, brotherhood, sisterhood, service, and philanthropy. So all of our organizations participate and contribute to different communities through service and through philanthropic efforts of raising money, things like that for different nonprofits. So we have 4 different councils represented on our campus. And so they're broken down in these 4 boxes, as you see on the screen. We have one of our fraternity is Kappa Sigma. They are part of an IFC, traditionally an IFC fraternity. And so we just have one. And then we have our National Panhellenic Council, if you go across the screen to the right. That's NPHC for short. That is Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. That's that second fraternity. Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated and Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated. Our Multicultural Greek Council, MGC, we have Sigma Lambda Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Sigma Lambda Gamma National Sorority Incorporated, Phi Iota Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. That's our third fraternity. And then we have potential candidates of Lambda Theta Alpha, so they're an establishing group. And then we have our Panhellenic Council. There are 3 sororities. So Alpha Gamma Delta Women's Fraternity, Alpha Omicron Pi Women's Fraternity, and Sigma 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 Sorority. And you might be thinking, what are the differences? Like, what the heck? Like, why are they split up? So nationally, they're governed by these big, larger bodies too. That's why they're MGC, NPHC, PC. They have a national governing board that helps advocate for all of the organizations under that big umbrella. So our National Panhellenic Council, that is our historically African-American fraternities and sororities in PHC organizations. Our Multicultural Greek Council are exactly as they say. They are multicultural Greek organizations, come from all different cultural backgrounds. They have a cultural focus. And then our Panhellenic Council and IFC, they're not culturally based, but they are open to all, just as everybody else is. So Panhellenic Council is they have a traditional, and I'll talk about recruitment in a second, but their traditional recruitment weekend. IFC recruits all year round. And a difference I like to point out usually when I'm on this slide is the biggest thing to take away is if you are a first year, first semester freshman. So if this is your first semester here at TWU, you can join IFC that first semester or Panhellenic. If you're looking at any of the organizations in MGC or MPHC, you have to wait at least a semester because you have to obtain at least 12 credit hours here on campus. And we'll talk some differences as we get to kind of the differences in joining and requirements, things like that. So some of the basic requirements to join any of our organizations on our campus, you have to have at least a 2.5 cumulative GPA. You have to be enrolled at least 12 credit hours the semester you want to join. So you have to be enrolled full time. And other organizations specifically might have a higher GPA requirement. So that's something to keep in mind. Everyone individually might have their own based on their national standards. And then, as I said previously, our MGC groups and NPHC groups do require that you have at least 12 credit hours completed at TWU before you can join. So you can do that second semester, freshman year, or beyond. One second, let me admit someone else. Okay. So things to keep in mind when joining any of our organizations. So there is going to be a big time commitment. So being mindful that you're ready to commit time and effort into helping that organization grow, helping yourself develop, all of that. So you're going to have some good time management skills. If not, you're going to have to pick that up. I will say, some people are really nervous about the time commitment, but being mindful that they're all students as well. Majority of our students also work potentially 1 or 2 jobs. So it is doable. You just have to make sure you prioritize, what's important to you, and whatever the chapter initiatives are. They give you those calendars ahead of time. Usually they set the calendars at least like a semester in advance, or at the beginning, you'll get a full calendar, say, here's your expectations, here's our meetings, here are the mandatory events, or here are some optional events, things like that. So they're going to prepare you ahead of time to make sure you understand what's coming up and when. Making sure you do your research on organizations before you just decide to join any of them, any chapter, any council. You want to make sure you're looking at national websites, and I'll talk about this a little bit too, but you want to look at their national websites. A lot of them will also outline membership requirements, what their values are, what organizations they support, like philanthropically. So make sure you take time to do that, and don't feel rushed to try to join an organization. You have time to do that while you're here. Also get to know people in the chapters. You might know someone in that specific chapter at another campus, but you need to see if you feel connected and you can spend time with the men and women in your chapter here, because they're going to be different than other campuses. So take the time to go to their events, see what they're about, see what they value, see how they live those values, right? And then, of course, you thinking about yourself, you want to make sure you're making the right decision for you and for what you stand for. But you also want to make sure when you are trying to join any organization, you be the authentic you. They want you for who you are. They don't want you to try to fit a certain mold. So make sure that you're comfortable and being able to ask questions and open up when you are getting to know people in the chapters. So that way you can know and feel confident in the decision you're making. because our organizations are lifelong once you do join and get initiated, which is kind of really cool too. That's unique about Greek life is when I said earlier, you get to network and make connections. It is lifelong. You have that opportunity to be engaged as much or as little as possible in a graduate chapter or alumni chapter once you graduate. And I'll kind of talk about that if you have more thoughts on that. The last thing to keep in mind is there is a financial commitment. I put money on here. All of our organizations do cost money, but that is how your organization operates. So really it's like running a small business. I mean, it's crazy what like our organizations really do. Any event, program, they have to pay bills, like there's certain things you have to do. So you have to have money to operate. So be mindful that it does cost money. And I'll talk about it on another slide. I think it's the next slide, that traditionally the most expensive is your first semester in any of our organizations. And then traditionally after that, it gets a little cheaper, but you still have dues every semester that are due. So when thinking about recruitment or intake, or vice versa, what does that mean? Some chapters call it recruitment, some call it intake, some have rush, different terminology, same thing. It's how they take in new members, how they want you to join their organizations. Now, IFC, Panhellenic, MGC, and MPHC all have different processes, and even chapters within each council have different processes for how you join their organizations. So for Kappa Sigma and IFC, they have open rush weeks. You can join, like I said, as a first semester freshman. They traditionally have recruitment week, fall and spring, and I think they call theirs rush week, fall and spring, but it's not always guaranteed. But that's how they do. You just reach out to them, contact them once they post their stuff, you go to their events, and then they'll walk you through that process. Panhellenic recruitment, the primary recruitment is in the fall. So traditionally when it's like the larger pledge classes come through of that primary recruitment, it's a full weekend. You get to see all 3 chapters involved. And that's when I was telling you also, you can join as first semester freshman. So in the spring, it's a little different. It's going to be an individual chapter process. It's not always guaranteed that every chapter is going to have a spring recruitment process. It's called continuous open bidding. But this semester, all 3 are going to be participating in COB. So just be on the lookout if you're interested this semester in learning about them. They will have events and things posted. Follow TDB Panhellenic or all of the individual chapters. And then for our MGC or NPHC groups, it is also a very individualized process. So it's going to depend on the chapter of what their process looks like. Traditionally, I've seen our MGC groups have a recruitment week each semester as well, and they promote those. You can go to those. NPHC isn't always guaranteed that it's going to be every fall and spring. It's sometimes just once a year, sometimes it's twice a year. There's a lot of factors that go into deciding if they can do intake or not. And then they also have to work with their nationals to get approval, that kind of stuff. So be on the lookout for any of them. I would suggest highly following all of the accounts, all of their individual chapter accounts, because that's when they're going to be posting about their information. And then going to their events, as I said, to kind of get to know them, to understand better if that's who you want to pursue an interest in. Now, expressing interest in those groups, it is a formalized kind of process. So if you go to their interest meeting, some don't have interest meetings, some do, that's what they call them. Some have informationals, different things. But if you express your interest, that's like a formal way of expressing interest is attending that. There is going to be some sort of intake process. I'm trying to explain it nicely, or not nicely, but so you can kind of conceptualize it. So with MGC and MPHC, their new member periods are a little bit more where we have discretion as a second point. It's a little bit, there's a little bit more discretion behind it. You're not like vocal about, I'm joining this chapter and I'm going to go, you know, AKA or whatever. Like it's a little bit more personal to where your new member period starts, you know, with their rush or their interest meeting and whatever their process you go through. You learn all about the organization and things before initiation, which that's the same with all of them. You're going to learn about history, all kinds of cool stuff about the organizations before, but you won't be like announced that you are a member until you are initiated with MGC or MPHC. They usually have new member presentations where it's like a big, like, surprise, these people are our new line, right? They take a new line. PC is a little different. PC, you go through your, yay, you're a new member, cool. You get all your new member education, and then you have your initiation, and you can still kind of like talk about it before time. But in MGC and MPHC, just historically, that's not how their process works. So be mindful, be ready for just kind of interview style sessions. They might have interviews with any of them, because you're going to be talking to people to get to know them. So just be ready to kind of answer questions about yourself, you ask questions about them, so on and so forth. You might need transcripts, recommendation letters, and then once again, there's financial responsibilities for all of them. So just be mindful when you are thinking about that. That's why I also say take time to do your research, because before you express formal interest, you want to make sure that that's the organization you want to join. So I hope that makes sense and I'm not confusing things, but everyone's process is a little different. So just be mindful, get to know the chapters, and then when you can go and express formal interest at their interest meetings, you'll be set. They'll talk you through that whole entire process of what you need. Okay, so now we're going to get to questions. Do you guys have any questions for our current fraternity or sorority members and or myself? You can put them in the chat, or you can like unmute yourself. I think I gave y'all access to unmute yourself and just ask a question. So I'm going to stop sharing since now we'll just get to the like portion of chatting with current members. Hope that makes sense. Anyone have any question? If not, I can start with the question. Okay, I'll start with the question, get it kicked off, right? Okay, so for you guys on the panel, why did you join a fraternity or sorority? And then why have you stayed active in your fraternity or sorority? Two-part question.
I'll go first. So like I said before, I'm in Tri Sigma, which is a Panhellenic. But I chose to go into sorority mostly because going into college, I wanted to be involved. I was super involved in just various different organizations throughout high school. So I kind of wanted to continue to do that in college. And being on the dorm or in the dorms, I wanted to remain involved on campus as much as possible. So I decided to join Greek life, and I have really stayed most likely because, well, not most likely, I have stayed because of the leadership opportunities that I've gained, but also my friendships. I mean, they're more than just friendships at this point. They are my sisters, my family forever, and like that will go beyond college experience.
I'll go next. So I was completely different from Alexa. Like, I did not do anything in high school. Like, no clubs. I quit every sport I ever played. Like, did not do good at all. So I really wanted to change that in college and actually like build friendships and build on something that I can like look back on and be like, oh, I'm sad actually leaving college, rather than when I was in high school, I was like, I can't wait to get out. Like, I'm ready to go. The reason that I've stayed is because I literally have 50 girls that I can go to for anything. Like, it's just a really big support system to have behind you. Life is hard and things happen in life, and you want to have those people that you can really count on to like get you through the hard times in school. And also, I made a lot of friends outside of just my sorority. I'm in AOPI, which is a Panhellenic. Actually, if you look at Hannah Beasley, she's my roommate, and she's actually in a different Panhellenic sorority. So don't think that just because you join one sorority or fraternity doesn't mean that you can't have friends in different ones.
Indira, Andrew?
I guess I'll go next. So hello, my name is Andrew. I'm a part of Phi Iota Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, and the reason why I joined the fraternity in the first place was because I wanted to gain more friendships, like as in males, just because like in high school I knew a lot of females, so it was really nice to finally have like a sense of brotherhood. And also like I have a bunch of sisters too, so like it really helped coming to college and transitioning into that, as well as like I wanted more professionalism in my life, just because I felt like I had some, but I wanted to build more on the foundations that I already had built. So that's definitely something that made me want to join a fraternity. And also they focus on academics a lot, and so that was something that I really wanted to change, transition from like high school to college, because college I feel like is more serious, and also you're spending your own money, so it's just kind of like you need to, it's the real game, so try and just do your best. But also I love that sense of like familia, just because like we are like a family, and like if there's any issues or like someone needs a ride somewhere, like they are right there behind your back, they got you. So I just think like that's also a great reason why I joined. So thank you.
Indira?
Okay, so like I said, I'm part of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, and I joined the sorority. I actually didn't know anything about sorority life before coming to college, and so it was something that was new to me. And like I took the time to actually like analyze, you know, which organization I wanted to join, and of course I picked, you know, Alpha Kappa Alpha. And the reason why I guess I stay active is because I didn't join just to. It's not just fun, you know. So when you do join, it's like now you're putting in the work. And so you don't just join, have fun for like the first semester and then like just stop doing it. It's a lifetime investment, like Taylor said. So therefore, I chose to actually put in the work and, you know, get my money's worth. I mean, you're putting in money, so you might as well take the time and actually enjoy the sorority and put in work. So.
And I thought I was going to mention, so let me talk about the money now too. So traditionally, it's the most expensive the semester with any organization, the semester you join, because you might have some one-time initiation fees or new member fees, badge fees, whatever the fees that headquarters come up with, they send those usually to headquarters, or you pay for your badge, things like that. So that's going to be the most expensive in any organization. Now, the range is wide depending on the organizations you're trying to join. Our MGC and NPHC don't really promote it until you're like actually expressing interest type of thing. Then you'll learn how expensive it is. I'd say it really varies depending on the organization, honestly. So save your money if that's something you're really interested in. Then, like I said, it gets pretty, I would say sometimes almost half like the price, like the second semester moving forward. For any of them that I've seen, but that's not accurate because they also set budgets every year depending on what you're going to be doing, depending on what bills you have, things like that. So I would say it's a wide range from like, I've seen maybe like $500 to like $2,000. Like it really just depends on the organization. So for that first semester, then I've seen it go down to like 200 to like 700. So it just depends on the organization. So just be ready. I did have a question in the group chat, and I know it was to me, but I can address it on here. There are not chapters at Dallas and Houston, so we're only undergraduate chapters on our Denton campus. So depending on the organization and things you join, there are different processes and things that could happen if you do transfer to get into nursing school, things like that. So that's something to like, you'll obviously work with the chapter on for that. Because obviously if you're in Dallas, there's a way you can stay involved. Right now with virtual, you know, it's Houston, right? But it's a little harder. So it just depends on that when you get there. So any other questions at all? Someone want to unmute?
I just logged on the other meeting. I was gonna go to that one, but it's during a class time. So I kind of missed the first 30 minutes. I'm so sorry. So I don't know if you can sum up.
Yeah, so I have this recorded, so I'm gonna record it and then I'll be able to post it on like the Center for Student Development's Pioneer Engage page if you want to rewatch. I went through a whole presentation of just kind of like basic requirements. So right now we're just asking any questions you have for active members. So maybe if there's something that's like you're dying to know, it's okay if we cover it again.
How many hours of volunteer service do you already have to be considered?
So I think that depends on the organization. Some require that going in. So I would say just if you're interested, start doing service now. So that way you can then show that you have so many hours, or sometimes it's consistency. So you might need to have 3 or 4 months of consistent service. So I would say if you're interested in that, start doing that now and start asking those questions to chapters specifically too.
How recent would the community service be?
Like in a
like year or like 2020?
Oh, it's that.
Because I'm always doing community service. I'm actually a Navy veteran as well.
Yeah, I think as long as if you can show or, you know, say I've been doing this for this entire years, like that's fine. Some of them, like I said, the ones that I've seen that required are like, oh, you need it for so many months, at least like before you join this kind of a thing, like 3 or 4 months of continuous service.
Okay.
Taylor, are we allowed to like put our info, like our Instagrams and stuff for everyone to go and like check us out. Because I know like a lot of us are doing recruitment, and that way you guys can go and follow us and learn more information about our specific recruitment, because this is very wide and general spread. And I know each of us have very specific things on there.
Yeah, a lot of these questions are going to be very specific to the organizations, right, that you're looking to join. But yes, on our website as well, I've linked everybody's, if you go to the council page and then you see everybody's chapter page, all of their social media accounts are linked even on our TW Greek Life website. And then I try, as the TW Greek Life like social media, I try to tag them in things. So definitely go to the organization's website. I just know we don't have all organizations represented right now on this call, but yeah, a lot of stuff is going to be very specific to the organization. So if there's a specific organization you have in mind, like I said before for Chelsea, I was saying do your research to kind of know, and research at websites, starting to get to know people, going to their events, even if they have virtual stuff. This year a lot of it has been virtual, but they still have virtual events and activities. Then you can reach out to them to kind of ask them like, hey, do you specifically require community service before you join? I know a lot of our MPHC groups do, but I know like Panhellenic doesn't require it before, IFC doesn't require it before, but you will then potentially have those requirements once you get into the chapter.
I have another question because I'm trying to navigate the TW website. I moved here from California. Where do you see all of the events? Because when I went to college, my first time going to college before the military, it was regular, pre-pandemic. Like my son likes to say, pre-panoramic. Everything was posted. You had flyers and everything, and you kind of knew, go to the alpha party tonight. And
yeah, it's a little choppy, honestly, at TW. I'll admit there's like multiple ways to find things. So your best bet if you're looking specifically is to follow each individual chapter's like social media account. But I will also say there's a couple areas to look at. Well, I would say there's TW events. I don't know that student orgs post that much on it. So if you go to the main website and scroll down to the bottom, there's like an event calendar at the very, very bottom. You can say see all events, that's there. I don't think student orgs post a lot there, to be honest though, but departments and stuff do. And I try to put like at least our overarching Greek stuff there. Pioneer Engage is a good place. So it's pioneerengage.tw.edu. That's got an event tab where more student organizations and things post their events that are happening on Engage. A lot of our Greeks will still post there, and then also on their personal social media. So right now, the main thing is going to be their social media accounts. That's where you're going to get the most up-to-date, accurate information. And then I'd say Pioneer Engage would be the next one.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Yeah, it's a lot to like keep up with, especially how we do the websites too. It's like I don't have access to going in and editing. I have to then send it to someone and say, can you add this? Can you take away that? It's like a lot. So Engage and their personal social medias are going to be the best. And I try to catch them to repost in our stories and stuff on the Greek Life social media handle, which is like at TW Greek Life. A lot of them, like I said, a lot of people, especially I've seen our MGC groups right now and our PC groups are going to be kicking off their recruitment stuff within the next couple of weeks. So any other questions for the members or for me or?
Yes, I actually had a quick question. I wanted to know how to properly log your community service hours, and also was there a certain amount of hours that we had to have outside of TW, or how many hours should we have for TW, or how many hours should have outside of TW?
So TW doesn't require any service hours on the end of joining. Now that's going to be up to the nationals specific. That's why I also say for the orgs that you're interested in, go look at their national websites, look at their membership requirements. They'll talk about if there's hours or if there's consecutive or what kinds of things they're looking for. And then to show proof, I would say if you have contact information from the organization or something that you've done service with, kind of getting that ready to go, hey, could you just write me a letter? I've been doing this for 3 months, or I've done this every Friday at 5, or whatever it is. There is a way now to track service through Pioneer Engage. If you're doing stuff on campus with Helping Hands, things like that, you can track your service hours there. I don't know if y'all seen it, but it's on Pioneer Engage. You click on your own little name, and then you click service hours, and you can start tracking your hours as you've done stuff. You can pull a report for that too, like an Excel sheet, just to kind of show I have done these things, because someone has to approve that you've done those, especially with Helping Hands and things. So Helping Hands is a good organization. If you don't know where to start, they have service opportunities, especially even still virtual right now, like at least once a week. So something to start with if you don't know where to go. A lot of places are doing virtual opportunities. So we do have on the TW website as well. There's, I think in the civic engagement, somewhere in the civic engagement portal, there's like some online volunteer opportunities. Plus I just saw Denton County actually needs more volunteers currently for their like mass COVID vaccine thing where you can like help direct traffic and help people with paperwork or whatever. So if you want to get some hours there, go for it. Anyone else have specific questions for our Greeks? Or I know it varies per organization. And sorry, I haven't checked the chat, so I apologize if I've missed that. Let me pull it back up. Where did the chat go? Because I think there were some questions. Okay. 1 second. So someone asked if you were transferred here from another college and you're not a freshman, what's the minimum hours one will need? Depends on the organization. If you're a transfer and you want to join a Panhellenic or IFC organization, you don't need to complete hours, except you have to be enrolled at least in 12 hours for anybody. You have to be enrolled 12 hours a semester you want to join. If you are trying to join an NPHC organization and MGC, correct me if I'm wrong, Andrew, you have to complete 12 hours at TWU. Is that, yes. So even if you transferred, you still have to finish 12 hours here before you can then express interest and kind of go through that formal process. Yes, and I know the Instagram, I'll pull up the Instagrams. I see Instagram for, where is it? Greek Life. So the Instagrams for, I think someone asked about AKA, is TW_AKA. Oh yeah, she put it, okay. And let's see, what if, okay, hold on, there's some other questions. I think I missed a question, 1 second. That one's super specific. Oh, I'll have to get back to you on that one. Yeah, if you haven't seen people posting, like any organizations, definitely reach out to them directly. You can email them or message them through their social media accounts, because someone is in charge of responding and doing those types of things. And then if not, I would also say you can click on their page on Pioneer Engage and click contact us, and then you can type a message in and it'll send an email to whoever they have listed as their primary contact. So that's another way to reach out to organizations. Any other questions, or I think there was one specific. So there was questions if people are having lines. Now, we don't announce the lines until chapters announce that they're going to have some sort of interest meeting or something, or rush. So just keep an eye out for their social media accounts, things like that, to know if and when they are going to have a line or not. It could be fall, could be spring, could be both, could be one. Like I said, there's a lot that goes into deciding if you can have a line or not. Any other questions? It was quick. Hopefully that's helpful. I'm glad you all could come out. Like I said, start doing your research, start with the national organization, start with their social media pages. They're going to be posting, like I said, especially our MGC groups and PC groups, Panhellenic groups, they're going to start posting stuff for their spring recruitments that they are having in the next couple of weeks. Some have already started posting, so keep an eye out for that. And then for NPHC groups, just keep following them, reach out, go to their events when they do have some. I know NPHC council met today, and they're going to have some overarching like events too, just so you can kind of meet all the chapters and things coming up. So more stuff will be posted. Right now with the pandemic, a lot of people have adapted virtual. I got a question about like intakes with pandemic. it's going to vary per organization, but most have switched to a virtual option. Not all, but most have switched to virtual options for things. So right now it's going to be get ready for Zoom, get ready for some fun socials online. So cool programming that they have virtual. Oh, Andrew, you can.
Okay, I was gonna ask if we can give advice.
Yeah, please. We have some
Okay.
time still. I don't want to just like end it if we,
Okay, bet. So basically the advice I have to give to everyone that's like interested in a fraternity or sorority. So basically, like Taylor has been emphasizing, do your research. They have the national website for each organization that can give you a full detailed list of like what that organization promotes, what they do, how many organizations they have nationwide. As well as whenever you're trying to join an organization, it's good to like start communicating with them now so that they get familiar with your face as well as like your presence. And also you could see what, not only on a national level, but also like on a chapter level, what that organization does do. So go ahead and like follow those Instagrams and peep and look. And also do not be afraid to talk to people. Like they are here, recruiting, fraternity, sorority, building that brotherhood and sisterhood. So like, do not be scared to talk to anyone. It'll all be okay.
I agree with that. I feel like coming from my perspective as like recruitment director, like that is my job. And so I feel like I'm more nervous than y'all should be trying to talk to me. Like I want to make a good impression on you guys. And so just be yourselves when you talk to people. Like it's not like a job interview where, if you get it, whatever, you're just making true connections with people so you can have like, even like Megan said, being with other sororities or fraternities, like whether or not it's good to just know one or two more people down the line. I know for Tri Sigma particularly that our informal recruitment is a lot less stressful than the fall. So if you're kind of timid into the whole like talking to people, this is a really good way for you to kind of get into the like process of sorority. And then that way, when you kind of go into the fall with your sorority or fraternity, you already kind of know what you're going to do. And so it's a really good way for people who kind of just want to ease into it. And so just take the time to really like think about it and go where your heart wants to go, because your heart knows who you want to choose.
Kind of to go off what Andrew and Alexa said, like it's better to start talking to members as soon as possible, because there's always going to be that one group that you feel like you don't connect with, and that's totally fine. Like you are allowed to be like, I didn't really see myself in this sorority or fraternity. Like that's totally okay. You're not going to fit in every single place. You have to find where you fit. So being open and like talking to us and like seeing like, hey, like I could really be friends with these people for my whole life, or like, oh, I don't really see myself connecting with them, and that's totally okay. So we just have to figure out, where you fit and what's best for you.
Advice, India?
Okay, so I know like NPHC is kind of like really big on discretion and stuff, but that doesn't mean that you can't reach out to the orgs personally. And I think that's like the best way to actually get to let them know that you're interested, is by reaching out personally, trying to get them to know their members and etc. Yeah, I mean, it's not as scary, I know it's like very like, oh, discreet discretion, or kind of scared to like really try to put yourself out there, but I think it's really important to let them know that you're interested, go to their events, and try to actually get to know the organization as well as the people, because you're joining the chapter as well as the organization. So though you might be like really interested in the organization, you also have to get to know the chapter as well. So yeah.
I like what you said about the like discretion thing, because I feel like a lot of people think, oh my gosh, they're so discreet about things, like they're never going to tell me. And honestly, it's not about that. It's more about keeping what's special to us kind of secretive until you get in, because if somebody told you a secret about it like way before, like your birthday present, it just takes away the specialness of, you know, you joining that specific place. And so that's kind of why we're more timid with giving out information, because we want that uniqueness and specialness to stay within our own, you know, sororities or fraternities.
Anything else? Any other pieces of advice?
Well, my name is Kristana. I've been on the call. I do appreciate just saying that, you know, you guys are available to, you know, answer questions, and I understand that is very precious in those gems. And so that's good. And I appreciate you guys letting us know that it's okay to reach out and ask questions that, you know, are at least at the forefront.
Yes.
Also, another thing, sorry, is that I feel like reaching out to us, if we may not be able to say it here, but if you reach out to us personally, we are a lot more open to saying specific things to you, just because it does vary for all of us. So it's a lot easier for us to give you direct information through our website or our pages, just because it's so much easier than having to go, well, I don't know about them, but you know. And so it's not like we're trying to withhold any information. We just want to make it a lot more direct for you.
Stuff is very chapter specific. So. Anything else? Any other questions? Cool. Well, like I said, follow them on social media. Go to the Greek Life one. I've tagged them in things before. It's on our TW website. If you click on each council and then each page, all of their stuff should be tagged, like linked there. So it'll take you to their Facebook, or if they have one, Instagram, Twitter, all of that kind of stuff too. So thanks for coming. If you have anything else, I'll hang on. We'll hang on a little bit, but if not, you're free to go. Thank you. The next week is going to be the same. If you tried to plan on attending both, it's going to be the same thing, but with different people.